AITA Leaving NYE's dinner after my sil made an announcement while we were honoring my son. I F32 lost my son to SID at the end of November. He was only 5 months old. It was unexpected. He was our first after waiting for 4 years. This was so devastating. My heart feels heavy. I can no longer hear him laugh/cry/watch his dad play with him. The house is empty and I barely find the energy to get out of bed because my family needs me. I spent Christmas with my in-laws. My family weren't happy. They insisted that I come to celebrate New Year's Eve and eat dinner with them. I found my aunts who have been very supportive and we talked. My husband apologized for not attending. My brother went on about how disrespectful my husband was for not coming and how he was treating my family like they were less than, but that's not true. Before dinner was ready, my aunt talked about my son and wanted everybody to take 3 minutes of silence to honor him. In exactly 15 seconds my sister-in-law got up and said she wanted to tell the family something. Everyone was looking at her and she announced that she and my brother were expecting. My aunt and I were stunned while everybody else got up and congratulated her. It was very disrespectful to do that. I didn't move from my seat. She kept staring at me until my mom told me to go hug her and congratulate her and my brother. Then my sister-in-law smiled at me and said she wanted me to answer some questions about my son's death after dinner to know what went wrong and prevent it in the future. I lashed out at her and told her she was disrespecting me and my son by talking like that. She felt defended and kept asking why I was talking to her like that. My mom told me to knock it off. My brother said nothing. He just looked upset. I got into an argument with my mom and sister-in-law. She told me to not treat your sister like that and ruin the night for the family. I left before dinner. My mom called my husband and told him that I ruined the night with how I reacted to the news and that everyone lost their appetite because of unnecessary stress caused by me. She sent me a text saying that my sister-in-law found New Year's Eve as the perfect opportunity for the announcement, but I was sad and petty and ruined their night and needed to apologize to my brother and his wife because they were incredibly upset for ruining their year and their joy. I just want to mention that my husband was so mad and said that he would have put everyone in their place if he was there when they berated me and hurt me like that. I don't know what might have happened if he was there, but based on his reaction it would have been a messy situation. Also, my brother constantly judging my husband and saying he has no respect for the family while he let his wife do this to me without even saying anything. He probably agrees with her. That's why he didn't say anything. Just sat there and watched. NTA, you just lost your child, for which I am so sorry. I cannot even begin to imagine your pain. Your sil and brother are self-centered AF, and your mom is an enabler for their behavior. Your brother and sil are allowed to be joyous for their news, but when they chose to give that news was entirely inappropriate. Furthermore, when your sil made comments suggesting that you were somehow at fault for your child's death, she became even more of an a-hole. I'm really sorry your family is so unsupportive during this difficult time in your life. My heart goes out to you. NTA, I am so sorry for your loss. Your sister-in-law's behavior was cruel and insensitive, and your mother's reaction was equally as bad. You and your husband should together come up with a plan to set boundaries with your family that will help you heal in your own time. If this happened to me, I'd never speak to them again. I can't even believe this type of behavior. NTA, I could call your sil some choice words that are not allowed on this sub, but for now I'll call her the A. You are a grieving mother. Cut out anyone who thinks what your sil did was okay, because it was not okay. It never will be okay. See her pregnancy in your face while your aunt was trying to honor your late son, and all but accusing her of causing her baby's death. That part is completely unforgivable in my book. No, she can't give you tips on how to prevent SIDS or it wouldn't have happened, would it? Like you said, plenty of swear words are coming to mind. What a horrible way to treat someone. AITA for embarrassing my wife in front of our friends by not going along with her lie. When my wife and I got married, we were both working. Once our first child was born, She wanted to quit, completely her decision. I started working more to compensate and she started taking care of the house and the kid. I am a pretty clean person and I helped whenever I could or if she asked. I am an involved parent. Though we had another kid and I started working even more. At the end of 2019, my wife flew to her home country to visit her parents. Airports were shut down and all the flights were cancelled before she could come back. There was a lot of red tape to unravel here and we couldn't get her back home until May. Like I said, the only reason I didn't do household works was because I was working too much and I discussed that with my wife and she was also okay with taking care of the household. I have lived alone for several years and until she quit her job I always did my share of everything. I am pretty far from helpless. At first, I freaked out a little as I couldn't WFH and I had kids, 7M and 2F, to take care of. In the end, I figured it out. I was stretched a little thing but it was nothing unmanageable. My wife came back home in the beginning of May 2020. She was very happy to be home and we were all happy to have her back. There didn't seem to be any problem. Few weeks ago, we have having dinner at our house with one of our couple friends when my wife told them that I was miserable without her, that the kids were miserable, that the house was a disaster, that she had so much stuff to clean up etc. She basically said that I was helpless without her and that I couldn't take care of anything while she was gone. I kinda chuckled awkwardly. Told her that the kids and I were definitely miserable sometimes because we missed her but nothing other than that was true. I told her not to lie about me or my ability to take care of the kids. After dinner, she was extremely mad at me and told that I was a jerk and that I should have just played along. She told me that she felt awful that I could manage everything without her and she felt that the cunt didn't need her and that she was insignificant. I obviously tried to tell her that it wasn't the case but she kept yelling at me and made me sleep on the couch. Here is the thing. Just because she isn't employed doesn't mean she can't work / doesn't know how to work. Similarly, just because I don't do things now doesn't mean I can't do it. I think it's demeaning to have me pretend that I am a man-child who has to be babied, doesn't know how to do basic things, cannot take care of my own children just so that she can feel better about herself. I don't think it right to portray me as an incompetent person because she feels insecure. However, she is still really upset and I am not so sure anymore. AITA, am I the asshole for not going along with the lie? My dad banned the Berenstein Bears books from our house because he said all the stories were about how the dad was an idiot and he didn't want us learning that. It is now a fond memory of my dad being stubborn AF about the power of stories. NTA. But you have received some very important information here from your wife. She feels unnecessary and insignificant to your family. Don't get caught up in the who was right at the dinner party sideshow. You were right, because it doesn't matter. She feels insignificant in your family. Don't let this slide by. Do you wanna lose a wife? Because that's how you lose a wife. You need to put the kids to be a little early one weekend night and have a long talk about changing things, not because you don't appreciate her and what she does, but because your wife is desperately unhappy. This moment of her being an asshole is a signal flare. Don't focus on the flare. Help the woman who is drowning. NTA, if I was in her position I would be non-stop bragging to people about how great you had been as a caring father and understanding husband. You were basically a single dad for a few months. That's not an easy task. She should be gloating non-stop about you, not tearing you down. NTA. She tried to throw you under the bus in front of your friends and expected you to just suck it up and play the poor useless husband who can't cope. Ask yourself what she would have said had you done what she did and brought up how easily you coped without her and that she clearly didn't do much. How would she have reacted? Would she have just played along? NTA. Your wife wanted to make herself feel better by bringing you down in front of her friends and then expecting you to go along with it. It's not like she discussed this with you before you both had dinner with the friends. She's mad because she got caught in her own lies and it's her own fault. She's being unreasonable and it's not your fault you stepped up even more when she was unavailable. It sounds like she needs to seek help for those insecurities. AITA for refusing to babysit for my brother and Sil after they previously told me they don't trust me. I, 28M, have an older brother, 31M, and Sil, 30F, who have a 3-year-old son, and Sil is about 7 months pregnant with their second child. I am a single man in my 20s and live by myself. As such, I live a fairly typical bachelor lifestyle. I enjoy going out to bars and clubs. In the past I have attended music festivals and dabbled in drug use, and I do not apologize for it. It's the way I am choosing to live my life right now. But I am also working full-time for a Fortune 500 company and making well over 6 figures. All in all, I like to think that I have my stuff together pretty well for a person my age. When my brother and Sil had their first kid, Sil pretty much told me in no uncertain terms that she would never trust me to watch her son by myself. She told this to me completely on her own, and when I asked my brother about it, he pretty much just sided with her and shrugged. Now, I admit that some aspects of my lifestyle are not kid-friendly, but I also understand there is a time and a place for everything, and I would never do anything to put my nephew in any compromised situation. I have never pressed the topic with Sil or my brother, and until recently it has never been a problem. A few weeks ago my brother called me in the middle of the night and asked if I could watch their son. Sil was having stomach pains and they needed to go to the hospital, but they had no one else to watch their son. Sil's parents were quarantined after COVID exposure, and every other option they had couldn't do it. I was literally a last resort. I asked if Sil was okay with it, and my brother said she didn't know he was asking me and he was desperate. I told him the only way I would be okay with it was if Sil asked me herself, because I didn't want to cause an issue. My brother told me they didn't have time and they would drop off my nephew on the way to the hospital in an hour. When they got to my apartment I went down to meet them, and Sil saw me and recognized where they were and started screaming at my brother. She started yelling questions at me like whether or not I have drugs on the counter, or if I have a girl up there with me. So I told my brother I was sorry, but this wasn't going to work. I told him I love him and hope everything works out, and I told Sil the same, but she ignored me and told my brother to take her to the hospital. Everything at the hospital ended up being okay, and Sil and baby are healthy. She wasn't going into early labor and they were back home the next day. However, my brother called me after that and said I was a huge asshole for not helping. I said it wasn't really my decision, as Sil made it pretty clear in the moment that she didn't want her son staying with me. He said I should have just taken my nephew, as Sil was in no condition to make a rational decision. My mom called me the other day and said I should apologize to my brother and Sil for what I did, but I don't think I was even in the wrong. Was I an asshole for not helping them? Wait, so you're being called an asshole for respecting your Sil boundaries? Definitely NTA. NTA, that's insane. You literally were going to get screamed at and have been the bad guy no matter what you did. That's not fair to you at all. NTA, I personally believe you went about this the right way. You were willing to help, you knew Sil wouldn't, so you asked for her permission. I don't think you owe anyone an apology. NTA, I got really mad on your behalf when I got to the part where your mom called you and told you to apologize. It takes some giant balls. Do not apologize. Your brother needs to sort this out with his wife. If he wants to be mad at anyone, he should be mad at her. He's just taking it out on you because he can't take it out on her.